Howdy, y'all. Welcome to episode 10 of Nick and the Hick. I am Eric, aka Captain Cannon and BD, but tonight or today, I will be known as the Nick. And as always, I am joined by.
Hello, everyone. This is Michael Brevard Decker, aka Captain BD. And right now, most importantly, you need to refer to me as the Hick.
And today we're rolling on through our Quentin Tarantino retrospective, and we are talking about Django Unchained. So before we get into that, as usual, we usually talk about what have we been playing. I haven't been playing anything recently. You told me that you're cleaning up Ghost,
Yeah, it's
right?
hard to, yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing the last 2 days, but it's hard to believe that you haven't been playing because I looked and you went pretty high up on the trophies and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I've been
took a
taking a
big
little
jump.
break. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get back on it probably this week, though.
So yeah, now I've got everything cleared out in Act 1 and Act 2, everything liberated, all question marks, side missions. I think side missions, I guess I don't really know.
Mm,
But I've got as far as I can get with Act 1 and Act 2. So Act 3 now, I think I've got like 5 out of the 15 places liberated. So I'm just going to liberate the country first, clear out the map, and then finish up getting my ship. But yeah, I think I'm on the way out.
yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
what?
oh
What?
sorry, did you hear about the news today for Ghost?
Oh, the multiplayer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, right?
yeah, pretty exciting. Um, but yeah, I mean, we've been playing this game for over a month,
Yeah. And pretty
and
hardcore.
hmm I definitely have to. I definitely have to finish it. Um, but yeah, that's been about it.
I did
Um,
also play the Avengers, Friday night? Yeah,
right, you were
Friday night.
supposed to do that this weekend. How was
And
that?
not I'm done with it. Yeah. I'm done with that game. It just
You're
isn't
just
good.
like,
It's I'm just so
wow,
it's really like just dull and boring. Like it isn't fun. It's not a fun
right,
game. And
right.
then I played with I don't know if I could say his name, but I I played with Who Dat, and it was more fun playing with a friend than going at it solo. But
Yeah.
it's just fucking boring. And also it doesn't make a lot of sense. So like you get your it's loot drops, right?
Mhm.
So after you do stuff you get loot and they give you armor and they give you, gauntlets and different things like that to put on, but none of it changes how you look aesthetically.
Really?
Yeah, like the
So it's
Hulk's like
just
he's got like chest armor and it's really just like a picture of like his rib cage. Because they also do skins, right? Like you can
right,
purchase
right.
skins or you can get enough of their Marvel points or whatever to fucking buy different skins. So I've got a different Iron Man skin and I've got a different Hulk skin. But when you play games of service like this, and especially like the loot droppy ones, like in um, definitely in Destiny, but kind of what's that other one? Ugh, it's got the little robot, little annoying ass robot on it.
I don't remember.
I don't know. So there's, but when you get loot, like you want armor pieces, fucking helmets, cloaks, shit like that. Like you want your person to look different, you know?
Right. Yeah, of course. Agreed.
So there's that, and there is. I didn't notice it at first because I guess I wasn't really paying attention to the other teammates when I was playing by myself. Because when you're running solo, you still have your Marvel team out there, your Avengers team, but they're just CPUs. So when I was playing with Hudat, I was trying to like figure out where he was. Like we would go an hour or so and just accidentally run across each other
Hmm.
like in a fight. And there was like nothing on the HUD to like see where your teammates at. You know what I mean? Like no beacon or no light or anything like
Right.
that. And uh, it's like they have a lot of work to do.
Didn't you say that there was there was a problem with like getting other people
Yeah,
to get into your
matchmaking.
game. Yeah, matchmaking. Yeah.
I didn't try matchmaking this weekend because Dre was gonna hop on with us, and Who Dat was dropping in. So I already had a couple people to play with, so I didn't try it this weekend. But last weekend, the opening weekend, I couldn't get anybody to matchmake. And the one time I did actually talk to a person, they were already in a game, like with somebody else.
Mm.
So yeah, extremely broken.
And there's really no way to fix these problems because this shit's coming out right at the end of the
So
year.
this is the second beta. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
next week's
Right.
going to be the third and last beta, and then skip 1 week, and then it's out.
Wow. How sad.
Yeah,
I remember
definitely.
I remember first time we saw the footage for this, and I wasn't impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be,
Me
but
too.
it just doesn't seem like. Yeah, it doesn't seem like
I was
there's
really
much hope.
thinking like if anything else, it would be fun to get you get Dre, get
Yeah,
Who Dat, get some people together. But
yeah,
honestly, it's still not going to be that much fun. Like we'll be in there bullshitting and joking around, but we're
right,
going to be bullshitting and joking around about how bad this game sucks.
right.
So I don't know. I put my money on Tony Hawk.
Yeah,
I switched it
yeah,
over.
definitely.
But then I was thinking, really, Tony Hawk doesn't come out for a couple weeks, and then that Samurai Jack comes out this week, so I might end up moving it over again.
All right, so you're
Yep, that's
definitely
what
not
I
going to
did.
play it. You're not going to play it this weekend, then.
No, no, no. I already took it off my
Done.
hard drive. It was taking 30, 40 gigs, something like that. So
Wow. Yeah. All right. So then, then we get to Django Unchained, which came out in 2012. This was a long movie.
it is a long movie.
I'll be honest. So I broke it up. My wife and I, when we watched it, we broke it up during the day. But still, it's like well over close to 3 hours long,
Mm-hmm.
165 minutes. And I didn't really feel, maybe it's because we broke it up, I didn't feel that there were moments where it dragged, like a lot of other Quentin Tarantino movies, or
Like you
just
could,
long movies in general. What?
yeah, like you
Like
could have
which
done
one?
some better editing.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, that's a running theme with him is he needs to edit. He doesn't edit as much as he should. But I didn't think it was as bad as some of his other movies. But again, maybe it's because we broke it up. Because I think it's like something like 245 or something like that. That's fucking
And there is a
long.
lot of action in this movie.
But there are parts where there aren't.
Like
There are moments where there aren't.
that's the part with Inglourious Bastards. And Inglourious Bastards, don't get me wrong, it didn't seem like it moved slow, but it was also really long. But there
Yeah.
wasn't like ever any action. It was always like we got to the scene right after the action.
Right. Yeah. So this is Quentin Tarantino's love letter to spaghetti westerns or westerns in general, and I feel like that's what he's doing a lot. Especially, he has his love letter to war movies. He had his love letter to Japanese movies, kung fu, and even like his Reservoir Dogs is like a love letter to crime.
Or
So
like Jackie Brown's probably like that black exploitation kind of.
yeah, definitely, yeah. And Death Proof is what's it called?
Grindhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say a
tried.
love letter to boring movies,
Yeah,
but
to
yeah.
shit.
So the movie starts off. I love it. It says it's 1858, and then it has to tell us it's 2 years before the Civil War. Like thanks to that history lesson, So we see a bunch of we see two white slavers, and then marching a group of African American slaves through the Texas heat at night. They're then approached by a stranger with a carriage. And I love his carriage. We find out he's a dentist named Dr. King Schultz. Yeah, the tooth. So already, it's already painted as like it's just this movie is such a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
With the dialogue and the setup and the look of it all. So anyway, he introduces himself to the two white slaves. and also a lot like his other movies, especially his later movies. There are a lot of cameos by a lot of actors who starred in the movies that he's paying homage to, and I'll go through as many as I know, but it's like there's a lot. So so Schultz, Dr. King Schultz, introduces himself, and he's a European, a
He's an
German.
asshole.
Yeah, but
He's pretentious.
that's perfect. Pretentious is the word. No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't call him rude, but he definitely comes off pretentious because
these are like sharecrop dirt farmers.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing of the movie is like a lot of the Americans, the Southerners, I should say, are white Southerners. Let me rephrase that. White Southerners are portrayed as being really dumb and uncultured and uneducated. And Schultz is the opposite of that. He's very educated and very cultured. And so he comes off that way. And there's a few times in the beginning where he uses not necessarily college words, but more smarter words.
Vocabulary.
Yeah, there you go. And then the two white guys are always saying, one of them says, "Speak English."
Yeah,
it's like he is speaking English. Yeah, that's
perfect English.
Yeah, but so it's that idea of like he's smart, clever, and all the other Southern white people are just like dumb as dirt. So anyway, he talks to them, and he's looking for a particular slave, and we see Django in the beginning sequence, the title card, the credit sequence, and he already looks different than the other slaves. It's nighttime. They've got like this really shitty blanket over them, and he's the only one not shivering. He's the only one. And then when King Schultz goes down the line of the slaves looking for a particular slave, he's not shivering, not just because of cold. He's not scared. And he has that look on his face of just like determination and just like he's different. You already know right away he's supposed to be different. But anyway, he's looking for a slave that knows he's
three brothers.
Slavers. We find out that Schultz is a bounty hunter, and he kind of needs help identifying certain criminals, particular criminals. Because, that's the thing back then, right? Like, nobody really knew what they looked like because it's not like they had photographs. So he ends up shooting the white slavers.
He shot one and then shot one in the horse. Or shot the horse.
He shot one in the head.
Yeah.
And he shoots the other one in the horse, which was great. And then the horse, like, obviously crushes his leg. Because that's one thing I don't think people realize is how heavy horses are.
Yeah, 1,500, 2,000 pounds.
Yeah. I said to my wife, like, I don't think people realize how much they weigh a ton, or like literally weigh a ton. Because they're huge creatures. So laying on his leg just breaks his leg. So what's interesting is the first brother that he shot in the head was played by James Remar, famous for like The Warriors, or he was in Dexter, and he plays another character later in the movie.
Yeah, he was his father, right? Dexter's father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said to my wife, I was like, why? What is the significance of that? And she said, did actors in the Westerns, or especially spaghetti Westerns, did they play two roles? Or did they play multiple roles in movies? And I was like, you know what? I haven't checked on that, but I wonder if she's right about that.
Yeah,
because it makes sense, for budget money-wise, to just use the same actor.
Yeah, and that was the point of Italian spaghetti Westerns, was to save money.
Yeah, so it makes sense. So that's probably why he did it, to pay homage to that. So then he talks to Django, and he kind of makes a deal with Django. So he ends up, acquiring Django and freeing him. And that's another thing I wanted to mention about Schultz in the beginning, because this will come up. Schultz does not care for slavery.
No, he does not.
And he mentions that. He just doesn't like it.
Now he's going to... So let's get. I guess that's moves a little bit farther along when they're in the bar.
Yes.
where he makes a deal with him. So,
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to say, and I didn't want to stop you, but
No, go ahead.
the blood in this movie. So, like with Kill Bill, the blood just sprayed ridiculously.
Yeah.
Well, in this one, in Django, it's like it explodes,
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
and
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I enjoy
Yeah.
both versions. I think Kill Bill's probably a little bit more ridiculous,
Right.
but this one's also it's pretty ridiculous too.
It is ridiculous. It's almost more like a short spurt
Yeah.
spray, or yeah, something like that. I mean, I'll get into it. There's one scene that reminds me of another movie, and that adds to that. But one thing I wanted to finish with Schultz is that so he's a German
Yeah.
who doesn't like this basically atrocity happening to black people. And so isn't that ironic that a German
Yeah.
would feel that way? Which again, I thought was something that Quentin Tarantino was purposely saying. So Django rides off with Schultz. Like you see, buys Django for $125 and tells the other slaves. There's that great scene where he tells the slaves, you have two choices. You can either go help the guy who's pinned under the horse, or you could just murder him, and just
And he's
run
like,
away.
by the way, if for any of some would-be astronomers in the group,
Yeah, there's the North Star.
the North Star is that one.
Yeah. That was great. That was a great. I mean, Christoph Waltz, another Academy Award winning performance, because he only wins Academy Awards when he does Quentin Tarantino movies.
Yeah.
But he's great in this again, and he does. I mean, you're right. He is a jerk.
Well, yeah, no, he's pretentious. He's pretentious.
Definitely.
He's a dandy, compared to
that's a great
Montel.
word for it. But at the same time, like a complete opposite of the character he played.
Not a jerk. I wouldn't say a jerk or anything, because he's actually really kind.
No, the pretentious is definitely, yeah. So the next day, Schultz and Django go to a small town in Texas, and he's a free man now, or freeman, right? And he's riding.
No, not really. So this is where he says. So they sit down, and he's like, he's like, look, I don't like slavery.
Right.
Like, I attest it. He's like, or I protest it. He was like, but for right now, I need your help. I need your help identifying these three guys, and if you have to do it, then that's even easier for me. He's like, but I don't like it. He's like, I don't like doing it. But so he's like, so we do this, and then I'm going to set you free, and then that's it. But I need you for this. So right now, just think of this as like a business deal.
He makes a deal with them. He's like, do this for me, help pick up these people, and he goes on later on. He extends the deal, but for the moment, it's just like, I need your help. So they go in this town, and because Django is riding a horse, everyone loses their shit.
They did it for like the next three towns.
Yeah, and it's just so obviously it's on purpose that how ridiculous these people are reacting.
Yeah.
But then when they get to the bar, and like him and Django walk into the bar, and the barkeep is talking to Schultz until he turns around and sees Django, again loses his shit. He's like, you can't be in here, and he literally runs out of his own bar screaming
to go tell on him.
And it's like, they're not doing anything. They're literally standing there. But of course, Django understands how serious the situation is. And Schultz doesn't really act like he knows, but he knows. I mean, that's the whole reason, like you just said, it's the whole reason why he had Django walk into the bar with him in the first place.
Yeah.
And so he tells, Schultz tells the barkeep, don't get the marshal, get the sheriff.
Go get the sheriff.
And then when the sheriff comes out, and he's like, all right, come on out. This is over, and all this stuff. And yeah, I did fun. Great scene. Takes you by surprise, where Schultz just shoots the shit out of. Well, he just shoots him once. He shoots him like right in the gut.
Yeah, he hits him once, and then he shoots him in the head when he's on the ground.
Right.
But he uses that taxi driver secret slidey gun deal.
Yeah, the sliding gun, which is funny you should mention that because I'm going to bring that reference up later. So, so that everyone's horrified and
Yeah.
terrified because you have to understand these are supposed to be like normal, average white people, and they don't see this every day. So then, of course, the barkeep runs and gets the marshal, and it's a whole big deal, stand down. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you about the blood. I'll mention it later.
Okay.
So then the marshal comes, and then that's when Schultz kind of says, "Hey, look, I'm a what's it called, bounty hunter," and he tells him he's legit, and this guy was a murderer and criminal, and but it's funny. He's a bounty hunter, and they always say dead or alive, and he never gives them the
He's
option to come alive.
always dead.
Never.
Always.
And so so then the marshal's like, oh, it looks legit, and I love this idea of causing this kind of ruckus and thinking that you could just get away with it because it's legit.
Because it can.
It's legal. Yeah, but not everyone. We'll find out. Sure enough, that not everyone still doesn't take that. So he tells Django that to get these three guys, you're gonna have to play a role.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, the whole acting side note, for it all, that this is like you're playing a role or you're playing a game. So he has Django pick his own clothes, and Django's really experiencing a lot of things that
for the first time.
He's
probably never had a beer ever in his entire life.
I was just gonna say that Schultz gives him a beer.
Never been inside of a bar, I imagine.
Right. Was never able to pick his own clothes because he says to him, "You're allowing me to pick my own clothes." He's like, "Yeah, go ahead. Whatever you feel will fit this role that you're going to play."
Oh, and he picks an outfit.
Yeah, he picks an outfit, which reminded me of like Austin Powers.
Yeah, it was.
And I thought of this painting, Blue Boy, which is like a French painting, and it just reminded me of that because it's like you used that word before. The word you use for Schultz? Like that's what
pretentious.
Reminded me of. Yeah, pretentious.
Yeah,
yeah,
dandy.
That's definitely true. Yeah, dandy. That was it. So no, they realize they have to go to plantation to plantation to find these guys, but we don't really know how long they've been doing it because it seems like right away they just find the right plantation.
Yeah, they go straight to 10 Cup.
Yeah, and then. So, isn't it Django tells him, or is this before that?
Oh, about his wife?
He tells him about his wife. Yeah.
I think this is after that, right? No. No, this is, so it's a little confusing. So now this is where he tells him about his wife. Later on is when they're talking about it again, and Schultz tells him the
story.
Fairy tale.
This is probably... chronological wise, this is a pretty straightforward movie. There are a few scenes where
for as far as Tarantino goes, this doesn't jump around a lot. It
doesn't really jump around a lot. I'm just confusing the two different scenes because there's one scene where Django tells him he has a wife, and the wife's name is Broomhilda, which speaks Schultz, piques Schultz's interest because Broomhilda can speak German, which is extremely rare, if not impossible. So then they said how they tried to escape from the plantation that they were on. And the scenes, it seems like whenever we see torture, to the slaves, it's always towards Broomhilda.
Yep.
And it's always towards Kerry Washington. So there's a lot of uncomfortable scenes where she's whipped, or that sort of thing. The hot box, she's
given just the impression of like prostitution, basically.
Yes. Exploiting her scars.
It's fucked up too.
And it's just like it must have been very difficult to film, Anyway, so we get so then that's right. Schultz tells Django that he's going to play his valet. And, he has to explain what a valet is because, again, that idea of like Schultz is more educated than mostly everyone he meets in America.
Yeah.
So they get to this plantation where they meet Big Daddy, who's played by Don Johnson. And what else? So of course he gets upset that Django is on a horse. And it's that idea of like he doesn't want the other slaves to see a slave on a horse, or they'll get the wrong idea. So then,
yeah, and that's reoccurring. So like when it was the two, and we were talking about, well, what is Schultz? He's not an asshole. He's pretentious. But when he said not only did that slave owner say speak English, but he said, hey, don't talk to him like that.
Right.
And Schultz is like, talk to him like what? He's like that.
Right. Like
don't talk to him like he's a person.
Like he's a person, right?
And that's the same thing here. And every time they see him on a horse, it's like, whoa, wait a second, you know?
Yeah.
He's not going to be on a horse in front of my slaves. And then Schultz makes it a point, like, look, I need him to go around and take a look at everything. Your slaves aren't to treat him like a slave. He's a free man. Right.
But Don Johnson's attitude changes when Schultz mentions
money.
Yeah. $5,000 $5,000. But
well, come on inside.
Yeah, he's all nice to him now. See, that's the common theme though about this, about not just slavery, but how the whites see the black people is that they're beneath them. And that is a constant theme in this movie, almost more so than the slavery, because like you said, like seeing him on a horse, it's like, well, he's not good enough to be on a horse. He's not good enough to dress the way he dresses, or good enough to even speak to him like a human. And that is a constant theme in the movie, because it's more than just forcing people to do hard labor without money. It's the way that they treat them. Again, like they're beneath them. So a female slave shows Django around. Django starts asking her questions about the Brittle brothers, who they're looking for, and it turns out that they're on the plantation. She points them out. So, at this point, he probably should have gone. Well, he tells the female slave to go tell Schultz, but he doesn't really wait for Schultz, because he has a lot of bad memories of his brothers. Yeah, flashback. And, of course, they're setting up a woman to whip her. So, let's see. One of the brothers,
for breaking
eggs, yeah. The brother who's about to whip her wears Bible pages all over his body.
Yeah, super weird.
Yeah, and he's like quoting the Bible and stuff. So of course Django shows himself, and then he shoots him, and of course he shoots him in one of the Bible pages that's over his chest, his heart, which I thought was interesting. He kills the other one, and then the third one's getting away, and at that point Schultz comes, and you don't really know how Schultz is going to react, and he doesn't really react badly. But then Django's like, "Oh, that."
So hey, real quick, the second brother, right, that he's killing.
Yeah.
Django doesn't know how to use a whip.
No.
Like when you
thought the same thing.
When you crack a whip, you gotta snap it. You gotta pull it back and get a snap.
Yeah.
With your wrist, and he just uses it just
to beat him,
like a switch.
Yeah. I wondered if it was just emotions, and wanting to get him back, and it's just like, yeah, I thought the same thing.
But they made the whip sound. They made the crack crack sound, but he was just swinging it just like a cord.
Yeah. So by the time Schultz comes, the third brother's getting away, and Schultz pulls out that long rifle.
So is that him?
Yeah, and it's like, I'm sure. Are you sure? And
positive.
So he lets it go and shoots the guy from, God, how far was that? How many yards was that?
150 at least.
And he shoots him right off his fucking horse. And then, of course, Don Johnson comes, and he's pissed off, and he's got like a bunch of guys with him. And then Schultz has got to go through his spiel about this is illegal. And Don Johnson lets him go. He's like, you get the fuck off my land, but he's not too happy about it. And then, of course, the next scene, we see the carriage. What is it? With the tooth?
Yeah.
His carriage.
Yeah, the tooth carriage.
And you see somebody taking money out of the tooth and then putting something in the tooth, which looks like dynamite. So then Don Johnson and a guest starring Jonah Hill and a bunch of other guys.
Fantastic mask dialogue.
Yeah. So they decide to get them back. Now this predates the Klan, but they're all wearing bags.
Yeah.
And then they go through this whole fucking like comedy routine, basically, of the holes are too far apart.
Can't see for fucking shit.
Can't see shit and ripping it. Oh, I ripped it too much. Now, although that was funny, do you think that whole thing was necessary?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't like it without it. My wife and I were cracking up. The guy whose wife made it all, her husband, he was hilarious. Criticize. Well, fuck you guys. I'm going home.
Don't ask my family for nothing. Yeah, I will say it takes the power away from them.
Yes, it does.
And that was the point.
Well, and a couple of them, like I think the big point was they even sounded soft. Like just what a couple men sounded. I don't think I could use the terminology for the 1850s or 60s, but he sounded like Metro.
Yeah.
A couple of them sounded weak.
Well, I mean, you said it before.
I'm not saying Metro's weak. I'm just saying that.
No, I know what you mean.
Grizzly cowboy sound.
Right. Well, because if they're farmhands or if they work on a farm, they're not really going to be like gunslingers. There's just going to be a bunch of pissed off white guys with small dicks, probably. So, here's where the chronological, like we see them go down the hill first.
Yep.
And then we hear the mask routine. And if you watch them go down the hills, some of them fall off the horses.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a couple empty
saddles,
riderless horses just running
because they
down.
Fell off. They fell off
see.
while they were going down. And then we get the routine.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we should have gotten the routine first before we saw them fall off the horses, because then it made sense. Because I was like, well, they're falling off the horses. Well, now it makes sense because of the whole bag fiasco. So they finally get down there. They're riding around the carriage. No one's there. And then we see Schultz and Django on a cliff far away, and he shoots the carriage and it explodes.
But he says,
and what's it say?
Wiedersehen,
yeah. Just like in Inglourious Basterds. So then, so everyone's either dead or they leave. Don Johnson's still there. He can't see for shit. He starts to take the bag off, and then Schultz gives the gun to Django, or the rifle, and he offers him to do it. And then he's like waiting.
Yep.
And he's like, "You're letting him go. You're letting him go." And
he's
like,
"I got him.
I know.
I got him."
And then he gets him, and then it's almost like Schultz is like a happy papa, and says, "The boy's a natural."
Yeah, kid's a natural.
So then they
this is when they talk about his wife.
Yeah, he talks about the German legend of Siegfried and Brunhilde. And Brunhilde was like a princess, what's it called? Like a prisoner.
Yeah.
And being protected by a dragon, or not protected, but
a mountain. And that's what the
mountain.
Germans and mountains.
Yes.
From Inglourious Basterds.
Inglourious Basterds.
Mountain climbing.
Yeah. I think my wife mentioned that too.
And then, he said, "There's a mountain." He said, "It's a German story. There's always a mountain."
Always a mountain. Yeah. So then Siegfried saves Brunhilde from the dragon and from being imprisoned, and obviously it's supposed to be an analogy for Django. But Schultz says to him, basically, would you like to be a bounty hunter? And you could gain some money, and you could possibly buy Broomhilda out of slavery. And so we get a little bit of a montage. Oh, I did want to say this, in my opinion, is Quentin's first movie where his locale, the locations, the backdrop are beautiful.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't.
No, yeah, continue.
I was just going to say, like, most of his other movies he doesn't really use the backdrop as a real part of the movie. And, we see a lot of desert. We see a lot of mountains. This is where we start to see a lot of snow because he tells Django for the winter, why don't you, like, you and I go into business together for the winter?
Is this when you were feeling Red Dead?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, but I could see where you would think that.
Because in the beginning of the game, you start off in the snow, and then
yeah, and it's beautiful. Like all the locations throughout the entire movie are beautiful, and we haven't really seen that. Even you would think some of Inglourious Bastards, but he doesn't use it as much as he does in this one.
No.
And he'll do it again.
He got famous in the beginning for not using any locations, right?
Right. And he'll do it again in Hateful Eight because Hateful Eight has a lot of pretty locations. So, so then they start, what's it called? Bounty hunting together. And,
montage. You said it right.
Montage and
getting a little better.
He's supposed to. So, bring this up again. Django's supposed to shoot this guy.
Okay,
with his son, and he shoots him. He was supposed to shoot him from far away, and Schultz is just like, just do it. And Django has an issue with it because the guy's with his son. And this was what I was saying before about, like, it's supposed to be dead or alive. And Schultz never gives them the opportunity to come in alive. And I was saying, like, you could have just had Django up there, and then have Schultz go down there and just say, hey, look, we got to take you in. You could either come in peacefully, or I got a guy up there who's going to take you dead, and could have given him the opportunity to go alive. But
no,
it's like,
Schultz never
does.
For one thing, he refers to his job. He describes his job as he sells corpses.
Yes.
Like, that's how he actually describes his job. I think you would have to imagine keeping live hostages or live bounties would be much more difficult.
Agreed. But, riding around with corpses, we never get to see that, the negative side of that.
I mean, well, heck, the one time the guy was like,
negative.
Who's that? It's the blah, blah, blah gang. He's like, leave him outside. It'll be fine.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to say this. So for this, I don't know, were you going to talk about the Smitty Bacall gang?
At some point, but you can.
God, why can't I think of that guy's name? Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
There's a Christopher Walken tie.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I knew he was going with this.
So he pulls out the bounty.
Wanted poster,
Yeah, the wanted poster, and he says, look, this is the Bacall gang. That guy down there's, like $5,000. Each person with him, each associate's $1,500 a piece. He was like, that person down there is $7,000 or blah, 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 or $5,000. He was like, that's what we're here for. This is our business. Like, this is our purpose.
Yeah.
Kill him. So anyway, so the guy at the very bottom is Crazy Craig Coons. I think it's Crazy Craig Coons.
Crazy Craig Coons, yes.
So that person is probably the great-great-grandfather of Christopher Walken's character in Pulp Fiction with the butt watch.
Yes. This bounty is mentioned a few times in the movie. It's mentioned again later on. And one of the other names was Gerald Nash, which name really rang in my head. And it's a name from Natural Born Killers.
Okay.
One of the cops, one of the last deputies, I think, they kill. It's a scene where a deputy's coming out of a donut shop. Mm-hmm. And he, what's his name? Woody Harrelson murders him while he's holding a bunch of donuts. So I wondered again, that's another connection to another movie. But yeah, so then the two of them find out that Broomhilda was sold to a man named Candy. What's his full name?
Calvin
Candy, right. There it is. Was sold to Calvin Candy, the owner of the plantation nicknamed Candyland. Clever. And so, of course, Django knows Candyland. He says there's no slave that has never heard of Candyland. So in the spring, they head to Mississippi. And by the time they meet Candy's lawyer, they've already known, or at least Schultz knows a lot about what Candy's into. Yeah, Candy's like, and we don't know any of that. Like, literally, it's just the next scene. And he's like, oh, this is Candy's lawyer. Like, I've done all this research and didn't even fucking tell you. So Candy's into, what's it called, Mandingo fighting.
Yep.
Which is disturbing. And they meet, they go to this place where I guess old rich white guys go to get whatever fantasy is filled that they want, right? Like, you want to see two guys beat the shit out of each other. And I love the fact that all the prostitutes were black.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, again, this idea of they're good enough to have sex with, but that's it. This fantasy. So they meet Candy, who's, of course, I love that shot where he turns around and zooms in.
It just stops on him. He does that a couple of times, it seems like.
He does a couple of times. I believe that's the first time he does it. I think that's the first time he does it. Of course, played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, how do you feel about Leo in this movie?
He's great. I don't care for him. Typically.
This was about a 3 to 5 year period where Leo was just knocking them out of the park.
Yeah.
You did your movie Inception, so I mean that's okay, but he did a good job acting in it. Definitely this movie. I'd say like Wolf of Wall Street was pretty
Wolf
damn
of Wall
good.
Street, yeah.
And what was the one, Shutter Island? That wasn't a bad one either.
No, it wasn't.
I like Shutter Island. Now I'm definitely out of order for all of those, but they're around the same
it's
5
around the same
years
time.
or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And then through all that time, especially Wolf of Wall Street and this movie, he should have won something.
And he didn't.
No, he ends up winning for this crappy grizzly bear movie with freaking Tom Hardy.
Yeah. The bear rape movie.
Yeah. That's a cringe. That was a cringer.
Yeah.
They finally let him win for that. I was like, and the only reason was like, look, we owed you.
Because he ate what did he eat? Like a deer heart? He ate like an actual heart.
Ugh.
And they're like, you went through enough. I mean, I don't know, when I first watched this movie a while ago, I don't know if I knew he was in it. So it was kind of a surprise to see him. And then also the fact that he plays a villain, which you have certain actors who will never go against type. Yeah. Especially if they're always playing like a dashing lead or a hero. And not to say he's never, played against type, but this is definitely not a typical Leonardo DiCaprio role. And I just was before we started, I was looking up the movie to see any connections. And I realized that, his teeth are really grimy, dirty.
Mm-hmm. They are. And
what's Schultz? Schultz is a dentist.
Oh, okay.
So that would be like, the antithesis of what Schultz stands for, because we do hear that he was a real dentist at one point, but we never know why he came to America. We never know why he wasn't a dentist anymore. I mean, do you find that weird that we never get any real
they don't
backstory?
ever talk about it. They just call him Dr. Schultz, and he said, I was a dentist, but now I'm into the corpse selling business.
Yeah. So we meet Calvin, who's a real piece of shit, and we see that he's in the middle of the Mandingo exhibition. I don't know what the fuck, a Bloodsport shit.
I don't know. Yeah, cockfight. I don't know.
Yeah, cockfight, really. And the other guy who he's going up against, that his slave is fighting the other guy's slave, is an actor named Frank Nero, who originally played the Django role. Okay. So this movie, again, I said was based on Italian spaghetti westerns, and there's one particular spaghetti western called Django, And so this guy played the original Django. So of course he had to, Quentin had to get him in the movie and do a scene with Jamie Foxx. But that comes a little later. So DiCaprio's Mandingo, kills the other slave, and then the other guy walks off. The Italian guy, Frank Nero, goes off kind of upset, but not before he gets like a bar. Goes to the bar where Django is at, and they have to have almost a drink at the same time. It's like, what's your name? And he's like, Django. Spell it for me. And he spells it. It's like and he's like, the D is silent.
I know.
Yes, I know. Yeah, because it's like it's so blatant. It was just kind of blatant.
And if you don't know about it, you're just like, well, what the hell is this for?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why is he like focusing all this time? It's like, but so Candy seems very interested in Django because he's a free man, and he's not. I guess he's not your typical slave, and it's because Django is, I guess, in Candy's point of view, smarter or more clever. And also we see some montages where Django's learning how to shoot.
How to read. Oh, shoot. Yeah.
Oh, read too. Yeah, read.
Be the fastest man in the South.
Gun. Yeah. So all that is important. Like, all of that is important because there's a line later on where DiCaprio says that Django is the one.
1 in 10,000.
1 in 10,000. Yeah, slave that's smart or capable or whatever. So he's playing the role. Django's playing the role where he's supposed to be. He knows, Mandingo fighting, and he's like got a keen eye on Mandingos. And Schultz is supposed to buy or wants to buy a Mandingo from Candy, and that's their angle. At this point, it's only halfway through the movie.
Yeah,
we've gone through so much already, and I kept looking at the time and I'm like, holy shit, there's so much more to the movie. So what else? Eventually, the next day, they start to head
back.
And,
find D'Artagnan.
They've got all these the slaves with them, and they've got a whole entourage of people, and Django's constantly getting every angle. Like, even the slaves are giving him the side eye. And he has to portray this role. What did he said that
he was so low. It's so low.
Yeah, that his role, the slaver, is so low.
He's a black slaver.
Yeah, black slaver. So
he's like, that's lower than the house slave.
Yeah, the house slave. So of course you see it because the other.
By the way, guys, we are purposely not saying the terminology that they use in this movie because, geez,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's uncomfortably a lot.
We haven't even met the main offender of the movie too.
Yeah.
So on their way to Candyland, they see a slave a runaway Mandingo fighter who had ran away, D'Artagnan, and they find him, and Candy comes down and tries to talk to him, and D'Artagnan is pleading with him that he can't fight anymore. And Candy said, I paid $500 for you. You only gave me 3 good fights. If I buy you for $500, I expect 5 good fights. So eventually, long story short, he lets the dogs at him. And this is a very painful scene for everyone to watch. And I think what pisses me off the most about it was that the other people were like, went around it and was just like egging it on. It's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's just the idea of people being into it.
Well, not just this, but you also, that was horrible. It definitely, you could tell, bothered Schultz. It bothered Django, but like he had to pretend like it didn't.
He had to pretend it didn't.
But just when he said, what was the word that he asked D'Artagnan? Where fucking Candy was trying to act like he was smart.
I don't remember.
But he said something like, we had an agreement. Like, do you even know what the word agreement means? And everybody's laughing or something like that.
Yeah.
Agreement wasn't the word.
No, I know what you mean now, yeah.
But everybody was laughing, and it was like, no, you guys are all dumbasses.
Yeah, really. You're all, yeah. Because that's, again, they portray the movie portrays there's this group of guys who work for Candy, and they're all portrayed as just being really fucking dumb. Like one of the guys, Candy says, well, this guy's giving Django you the side eye because he's never seen a slave like you before. And he's like, isn't that right? And the guy's just stuttering. It sounds like he's been hit in the head, kicked in the head by a horse. And it's just like, damn, they are like portraying them. And what I love about Candy is when we first meet Candy's lawyer. So Candy's supposed to be French. And so the lawyer says to Schultz about Candy, he says, don't speak French to him. He doesn't know it. And he will get mad because he's embarrassed by the fact that he doesn't know French. So he's already a small person, He's somebody that just has a very fragile ego.
Yeah, because he likes to be called Monsieur.
But he doesn't know French. And that's the thing, like, you're right. He says to D'Artagnan, like, do you even know what that word means? Bitch, do you even know what that word means? Like,
I don't think you do.
15 hours ago, like,
and then the person that can't even fucking speak, he's laughing his ass off.
He's laughing, and he's looking down at Django. Meanwhile, he got kicked in the head by a horse a bunch of times. It's just that running theme of like all the Southern white people are dumb. They're really dumb. But yeah, Schultz isn't happy about the mauling. And, Candy notices that. And he says, like, oh, your boss he wants a Mandingo fighter, but he can't really stomach the mauling. And that's the thing I forgot to mention, that Schultz had said to Django, like, if we do this, if we try to get your wife, you have to stay in character.
Yeah, you can't break.
At all times. You cannot break, which is an interesting thing for Schultz to say.
Because Schultz breaks 3 to 4 times.
Yeah, and this is like one of the times that he
breaks.
And so that's the problem, is that he breaks too many times. We finally get to Candyland.
This is another reoccurring theme that we have. So you remember in Inglourious Bastards, you got Michael Fassbender saying, "Hey, are you gonna be calm?" To your boy.
Stieglitz.
Yeah, Stieglitz.
He says, "Are you calm?
Are you calm?"
Yeah.
Yeah, don't I look calm? And then lo and behold, we go down to this bar in the basement, and he is not calm.
No, he is not. I beat his aim to your balls. So they get to the house, and we are introduced to Steven, played by Samuel Jackson, and he is the main offender of saying
the N-word. Yeah.
The N-word. And he immediately, again, loses
on the
his
horse.
Shit that there's a slave on the horse, and Candy's really got to like say to him, don't worry about it. Schultz is, he's with Schultz and all this stuff. So the Samuel Jackson character is a real conundrum to me and my wife, and I'm sure a lot of other people watching. He constantly talks back to Candy.
Yes.
Constantly. And in this particular scene, Candy, verbally says to him, enough, and then just fucking do what I say. And then Steven's like, okay, sir, yes, sir. But still talks back. I mean, we'll see. I mean, again, we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's still, Steven's character is probably the worst of them all.
Yeah.
Because he is obviously, I guess you would say, a race traitor. He is a house slave, if you even want to call him a slave. And the reason why I feel like he's the worst is because, again, all the white characters, the Southern white characters, they all think they're above the slaves. And then Steven thinks he's above the slaves.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him horrible, because he has no problem doing these things to his own people. So then that's when we find out that Broomhilda's in the hot box for trying to escape, and Django's trying to keep his shit together, and they pull her out. And, again, he's fighting with Candy because Schultz wants to meet with Broomhilda because he hears that Candy has a slave that speaks German. It was like, can you bring her to my room? And Steven keeps saying, but she tried to run away. She's got to be in that hot box for 10 more days. And he's just like, Steven, just fucking do it. Like, stop fucking arguing with me in front of guests. God damn it. And,
hey, pause you. One shout out I wanted to give out real quick. Wanted to shout out real quick. Walter Groggins.
Yes.
I think he does a great job this fucking movie.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely.
So right before this, isn't this where he was talking shit to him? And
he did, yeah.
He goes over and snatches another white dude off of the horse.
Yes. And he says,
I'll dance with you in the moonlight or something.
Dance with you in the moon. That was it. Yeah, and that comes up later on. I mean, I do think, side note, everyone does a great job in this movie.
Yeah.
With highlights with DiCaprio and what's his name?
Samuel Jackson's
Samuel Jackson.
Makeup is horrendous.
You really?
Yeah, he just looks like plastic. He looks like plastic.
Huh. I didn't think it was that bad. I guess maybe because his performance distracts me because he's so annoying.
Yeah.
He's so...
No,
he's such an asshole.
They just overly aged him.
They purposely did, yeah.
Yeah, with his prosthetics. It just doesn't look, it looks bad.
Yeah. So we see them pull Broomhilda out of the hot box, which, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what that is. It's just a hole in the ground where they put people that rot in the sun. And they pull her out. Django is holding the shit together. Then they get into the house. The next scene is they're at dinner. Oh, no. So Broomhilda goes to... I love we meet Candy's sister. And
isn't that relationship kind of weird?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
They
kiss on the mouth.
Sister relationship.
They kiss on the mouth. This is very weird. But are you just supposed to chalk it up to it's the South? I don't know. Yeah. So she delivers Broomhilda to Schultz's room, and I love how Schultz takes Broomhilda in and then just shuts the door on the sister's
but she's still talking.
She's still talking, and she's such a lady. She probably doesn't even take that to doesn't take offense to that too much, because she's such a lady. So Broomhilda gets into the room with Schultz, and Schultz starts saying that they have a mutual friend, and I guess she starts to realize what he means. And once we see Django into the room, she passes out,
Yeah.
But we never...
silver-tongued fox.
She faints. But we never see them interact.
No. Not really.
Which is weird.
At the very end of the movie.
Yeah, but when they first see each other.
No.
Yeah, we don't see it. And then the next scene is the dinner, and this is a long sequence.
Yes.
But basically, to cut it as short as I can, Candy's sister notices that Broomhilda keeps looking at Django.
Yep.
And so does Steven. And Steven pretty much puts it together that they know each other. And I kind of, compared that to Inglourious Basterds, where Christoph Waltz said that he doesn't think like a typical Nazi or a German, that he knows where to find the Jew. And it almost feels like the same thing. Candy doesn't notice the looks. Candy doesn't notice the connection. Because it's you why would he notice that? Why would he see that? But anyway, so Steven tries to tell Candy that they know each other. So he tries to get him out of the dinner, and he whispers to him. You can hear him say, Steven says to Candy, "Meet me in the library." And now this is one interesting scene because once he goes to the library, Steven doesn't act like a house slave.
No.
Right? He's
No, he
sitting
acts
in
like
the
a partner.
chair. Yes. He's sitting in the chair. He's drinking the, I guess, brandy. I guess it's brandy.
Yeah, just helps himself.
Yeah, and he just
sits in his chair, sits behind his desk in his chair.
Yeah, and he talks to him like they're equals. And it's just that's the confusing part. It's like, why is he being considered an equal? I thought it was because he might have been in the family for so long.
Yeah.
That Candy was raised just to see him as like an advisor.
I think it's just because of moments like this to where Steven does love him and he does have his best of interest, and he tells him, hey, you're fucking up and making a bad mistake right now. You know, a big mistake right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he is on a different level, and you know why every other little quip that you get when you hear Candy talking, Steven's right behind him. Sure is.
Oh, yeah.
Sure wasn't.
Yeah.
You sure did.
Yeah.
Like he's always backing him up. Always, at all times.
I mean, he's hovering over Candy.
Yeah.
And you know what I was thinking was that Steven is Candy's hype man.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes he repeats what Candy says. And like you said, he's always like, yep, sure was or sure wasn't. And he's just hovering over him. And it's like, that's the weird relationship that they have. Where, like, he's looking out for Candy's best interest. So he tells Candy that they know each other and they're probably only here to get her freedom. And so then, of course, when he goes back, it's very tense, to say the least. He brings out that skull. Old Ben, and he breaks it open and basically says that, you know, every slave has these two holes in the back of their skull, and that's, you know, basically saying that's what makes them inferior.
He's saying that you are inferior, and there's science behind it.
Yeah, right. And then, you know, he starts to get really tense and says, how much you want to bet we do that to you, and we'll see the same two holes. So when they get up and what's his name? DiCaprio slams his hand on the desk, on the table.
Yep. That should have got him the award. That should have got him the Academy.
Yes. So this is the infamous scene where he actually cut his hand while doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So he slams his hand on the glass, on the
skull,
and it cuts him. It really cut DiCaprio's hand, and he kept going. And you could see he looks at his hand at one point and kind of like
it's covered in blood.
Yes, covered in blood. And then when he brings out Broomhilda, he puts that blood in her face. And they have said that was not real. You know, that they took a take, they took a cut, and they had. But it's not really, like in the movie wise, it's not explained why his hand is bleeding, you know. But they used it. And they're like, "Fuck it, smear it in."
So
again.
when he does put that interface, that's not real.
No,
because the way that I've always read the end of this little story, I always thought that was real, and I always thought that's disgusting.
Yeah, no. When he slams his hand, he really does cut it.
Yes, I know that.
It wasn't intended.
The blood that he wipes on Kerry Washington was.
No, they said that wasn't. I think that.
You think they just have to say that?
Yeah, but I mean, I hope it wasn't. Let's say it that way.
I mean, you could have a disease. You could have.
Yeah, it's gross. Yeah, it's gross
just
on so many
gross.
levels. But him doing that, they probably took the cut and then did whatever they had to do, and then maybe Tarantino was like, "Oh, I love it. Let's smear it in Kerry Washington's face because we haven't fucked her up enough in this movie." But yeah, so I mean, he ends up selling Broomhilda to them for the original
12
amount. How much?
12,000.
So, but here's my question: were they going to buy a Mandingo?
No.
Right, but how was that going to play out?
He was supposed to go back to get his lawyer, and then come back in 5 days. But
days,
it's like,
right?
hey, in the meantime, we really like this Broomhilda, man.
Hilda.
Let us get her for a couple
There you
thousand
go.
too.
There you go. That was the plan.
We'll take her back home and have some fun with her. Just give us about, couple, break her off a couple grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why when they're in the room with Samuel L. Jackson, Snowball, and
Snowball.
he said, no, they're here to buy the Mandingo. And he said, he didn't
Right.
buy no Mandingo. And he said, yeah, he did, Steven, for $12,000. And he said, do you have any
Do
money?
you have the money? No.
He said, no. He said, I bet you he's about to try to make a deal for her, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, my God. That's when it hits him. Like, damn.
Yep. You've been played. Now, this is the whole thing. Schultz is not happy about it. And
No, because Schultz got played.
Yeah. He got played.
They've been beaten. And I think it's safe to say that how bad the American white Southerners look down on slavery, I think it's safe to say that Schultz looks equally down upon them.
Yeah. Safe to say that. Definitely.
Like, he knows he is more educated and smarter, and he does play them as he sees them,
Right. Well, he also plays that memory of seeing D'Artagnan being pulled apart by dogs. Yep. And I wondered if that's a part of it. It's like, not only am I being beaten by this guy, I'm beaten by a guy who does this to other humans. Like he's so low that he would do this to other humans and not feel bad, not have a problem with it. And this is who beat me.
And what they don't understand, sorry to interrupt you, but what Candy doesn't understand, what Steven doesn't understand, what none of Walter Groggins or anything they don't know, that they're not educated about, is that Django and Schultz are dangerous people.
Yeah.
They are dangerous men.
Yeah. They don't, because at this point they still don't know that they're bounty hunters at this point. So all Candy wants is for Schultz to shake his hand before they leave, and Schultz won't do it.
Will not.
And Candy's like insisting, you can't leave until you do. And then so he finally goes to do it, and then that's when he pulls out the taxi driver gun.
But I love it because he looks at Django and says,
he's like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man.
I had to do it.
About to do this to you. I'm sorry, but I just can't shake this fucker's hand.
And then he shoots him right in the friggin' chest, right in the heart.
Right in the flower.
Right in the flower, which was great. There are a lot of great visual parts to this, and that's definitely one of them. Then Butch, who's also played by James Remar, kills Schultz with the shot off. And don't you think that was a little ridiculous? The way that he flew back and destroyed the book shelf. Like, that's just, it seems a little.
There's two of them. For one, I don't know how Django was basically playing pool with bullets. But say goodbye to Miss, what's her name?
The sister.
The sister. And when he shoots her, she flies sideways.
She flies back. Yeah,
sideways. Fucking cue ball, or not cue ball, but like fucking 7-ball side pocket. Like, I was like, well, as far as physics go, like, how did that happen? How did he make her fly sideways?
Yeah. So then Django starts killing everyone. So this part reminded me of Taxi Driver, along with the little gun, because at the end of Taxi Driver, everything is in closed space, and there's a lot of blood, and there's a lot of shooting, and just this one particular scene reminded me of that. People are getting shot accidentally, which was really funny.
How'd you like the Tupac?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that's.
Let me ask you, as far as movies goes, like, I don't like older movies, and I mean older as in like movies taken from an older time in history using modern music.
Yeah, I know. I knew you were going with this.
That shit bothers me. Like A Knight's Tale, fucking, they're jousting.
A Knight's Tale does it a lot.
And they're listening to AC/DC. It's like, come on, our fucking kiss. I'm like, come on, man. Like this.
Well, the worst part about Knight's Tale is they're literally dancing the Bowie. Like
yes,
they're
yeah,
dancing the Bowie.
golden age,
Yeah.
or
And it's
golden
like
years.
you're not dancing the Bowie. Like
No,
so yeah, no, I understand.
but I feel like they did it with it's a little bit more tasteful
In
because
this, yeah.
yeah, because it is modern music. I mean, it's Tupac,
Yeah.
but it's like also done with like a little South hinge to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think there's a Johnny Cash song in here somewhere too.
There is a Johnny Cash
And
song,
that
yeah.
one's pretty fucking good. When the dead something comes or whatever. I
Yeah.
forget what the name of it, but I was like, oh man, and that's definitely not modern, but they did like modernize it.
Yeah, right. So it reminded me of Taxi Driver, and then this is the scene that made me want to play Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
Just all the shooting and all the blood and stuff. And what I was going to say before was the blood spraying or splurting that we talked about earlier. He got that from a movie called The Wild Bunch, which used a lot of blood in their shooting scene at the end. So again, I think that's supposed to pay homage to that movie and that shooting, that style, because it is very bloody and the blood is just going everywhere. But so then he gets into this shooting match. He's killing all these people, destroying the house in the process. They finally catch him because Steven uses Broomhilda, who Steven was so upset when he saw Candy die.
Mm-hmm. He was very distraught.
Yes. So then he uses Broomhilda as leverage to get Django to stop, and then he reluctantly does, and he claims that they're not going to hurt Broomhilda, which they don't, which is surprising as far as we see they don't. But with Django, they have him hanging upside down
by his feet. Yeah,
by his feet, pretty much naked. Where your boy
Walter Goggins is in there.
Yeah. Goggins comes over and is about to cut his dingle dangle off, and
then we go into a really crazy dialogue with Steven talking about no, we do that. We've we've done that before. He's committed an atrocity that deserves more than that. We do that all the time.
Right. So we're gonna make you go to a mining camp for the rest of your life.
Yeah, like a horrible mining camp.
Yeah, horrible.
Where if you don't do what you're supposed to, they cut your tongue out, and then if you
what did Christoph Waltz call them? A silver-tongued fox?
You silver-tongued fox,
fox. So then we see that again because when he actually does have a silver tongue, because we see him going to the camp with two of them are Australian
with QT.
And one of them is Quentin Tarantino.
Well, she's not Australian, dude. She's New Zealand.
Who?
Oh no, never mind. I'm thinking of Crazy
Zoe
8. Or Hateful Eight. I'm thinking of Hateful Eight. She was not in this.
She was.
Okay.
But she's got the guys with the dogs, all those dumb guys.
Yep.
She's the one with the mask.
That's right. Yep. And that
we never see her face.
That looks a lot like freaking Red Dead.
We never see her face.
Yep.
I don't know why she was covering it.
At this point, she would have been great with this group of guys because she actually sounds Australian.
Yes, right. But QT's doing a horrible Australian accent. Horrible. And then Michael Parks is in it again. He's the one that was in Kill Bill and both Kill Bills.
And Tusk.
Tusk, yeah. So Django uses his silver tongue to get himself out of that by saying that there's a bounty and, they could, get the money from the bounty.
Yep, he's got that. So a couple things. He's got that bounty that Schultz said, keep this. It's good luck to keep your first bounty.
Right.
He said, always carry this with you. It's good luck.
Callback.
Then the slave that Django did not break his character in front of, the one that was mean dogging him when they first got to Candyland.
Right.
He said, ask him. Ask him if I'm
ask him
one of them. And they did, and he was like, no, he came in on a horse.
Yep. We see QT holding dynamite, which is an important
Yeah.
important thing.
He
So
goes
he
up.
convinces them. He convinces them to take him back to Candyman, and he lets him go free. He gives him a gun, which was so stupid.
Immediately. That was a bad
Yeah,
decision immediately.
yeah. And he kills them all, and of course he shoots Quentin holding the dynamite, and he just goes kablooey. But he lets the slaves go, but he gives them a look, like there is a look. But there's no dialogue between them.
Yeah.
And he goes back to Candyland. He rescues Broomhilda, and he waits for them to come back from the funeral for Leonardo DiCaprio. And then of course it's great. The two slaves are there with them, and he says, "Say goodbye to Miss whatever her
the
name."
big girl. I'm such an asshole when I say shit like that. I just can't think of her name. It was like Bessie or.
Yeah. I can't remember her name.
She's like, say goodbye to Miss Candy. She says,
Yeah.
bye, Miss Candy, and boom, side shot. It goes flying.
He manages to get the bill of sale for Brunhilde as well.
Yep.
From Schultz's corpse. So he's got that, and he pretty much just kills everybody. Now everyone's gone. Like they were the first time around, there were like 20 people coming into that house, and he's shooting at them. Now it's just a few of them, and it doesn't. Where is everybody? Like it just doesn't. Everyone took the day off.
Dead. Nobody's gonna pay us anymore.
Yeah, right, exactly. So then he ends up. He shoots Steven right in the kneecaps.
Yeah.
Because we see Steven. He the whole time he's got a cane, and then he drops the cane, and you see that he's been faking that thing the whole time.
He's praying to God.
Yeah, to kill this.
Let me kill this man.
Yeah. But then he sets fuses. He lets the female slaves go. He sets the fuses, and then of course we got to see Steven screaming out his name. And this is the most ridiculous part of the movie. Django standing in front of what seemingly is the house as the house explodes. And It's like, yeah, you wouldn't be able to stand there. You see all this debris flying, and he just stands there with his sunglasses. And then that's it. Him and Broomhilda ride off into the night. And, you could almost imagine what their life is going to be like after this.
Yeah. Yeah, on the run. I mean, I know he got that bill of sale, but still, somebody's got.
Yeah, because that's the whole point. Why they couldn't just go in guns blazing and get Broomhilda? Like Schultz was saying that we got to do it legally, somewhat legally.
Yeah, somewhat. Like I'll kill everybody, but it's on paper.
We'll just lie.
It's on paper. I have your receipt. Honey.
Yeah, exactly.
We both have R's on our cheeks, but I've got your receipt.
Yeah, really. So yeah, where would you rate this in the list?
Oh man, I think I'd go Inglourious Bastards, Pulp Fiction, then this.
Yeah, I think I'm with you with that. Yeah, I think I'm with you with that. We got two more left. I'm still trying to decide if I should rewatch The Hateful Eight, because that's another 3-hour movie.
Yeah. Well, luckily it's on Netflix, so I think I can break it up. In a couple days.
They have the extended version, and I told you what they did with the extended version was they did it like episodes.
Okay. Oh yeah, I have seen that. I did watch that when that came out a couple years ago. I like Hateful Eight. Okay, I did.
Should do that.
Hateful Eight's one of those ones where it's not as good after you see it the first time.
Right.
Because he's got his little twist,
Right. Yeah. What
that's
else?
What that movie. I guess that's all that movie is a twist. It's a whodunit. It's Clue, but the freaking West.
It is like Clue. Yeah, I agree with that. Do you have any other movies while watching this movie that made you think of any other Westerns?
So the reason I was bringing up Walter Goggins, right? And this might be
Yeah.
something I'd like to recommend for everybody because maybe a lot of people missed out on this at some point. I think I saw it on Netflix years and years ago, and then I haven't seen it anywhere else since then. But Walter Goggins is in it. It's a Western. It's called Diablo. And it's
Okay.
with Scott Eastwood, Clint Eastwood's son. So Scott Eastwood is, the cowboy in this movie.
Yeah.
Him and Walter Goggins have like dialogue throughout the whole movie. Basically, this guy, his wife got stolen from him. He's a Civil War soldier, just back from the war. A group of bandits stole his wife, and he's going to go find his wife. But there's a crazy plot twist story going on at the whole time.
Within it.
Yeah. But Walter Goggins is in it. Those are the two main characters. Is Eastwood and Goggins.
Yeah. I've never heard of it. I definitely look into it
Diablo.
now. Yeah.
Other than that, man, 310 to Yuma.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, you mentioned that one. Yeah.
310 to Yuma. Tombstone's probably my most favorite. I love Unforgiven. Yep. Unforgiven's fantastic.
Yeah.
And all of the Man with No Name collection. Everything.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that does it. So like I said, we have 2 more left. We'll probably, fly by them pretty quickly. So yeah. So you got anything else?
Nope. I'm ready to get him eaten again here pretty soon. I'm thinking of other movies. So there's an Australian Western that has Heath Ledger in it, and they're outlaw. They're big outlaw from the day. Ned something.
Yeah.
I think the movie's called Ned.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know the word you mean.
But that's a fun movie. That's a fun movie too.
Yeah, that's about the big Australian outlaw.
Yeah. I keep thinking Ned Flanders, but it's just not the same. It's not the Oakley Doakley. It's more of Annie Oakley than the Oakley Doakley.
Yeah, yeah.
But yep, that's it for me.
Ned Kelly.
Ned Kelly. Okay. Yeah, Ned Kelly. I think Mick Jagger played that role.
He did. He played the role
earlier.
Yeah, in the 70s. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Join our Patreon. Help us help you. Facebook. Yeah, everything's linked down below. I think that's it. Until next time. I have been the Knick, and
I am the Hick.
All right. Later.
Bye, guys.
All right.